Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners and macabre murders from across the centuries and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 133.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is.
We have crossed the threshold into November.
Yes, we have.
Spooky month is far behind
Spooky
us.
month is gone. No more spookiness.
No more spookiness
No witches for a year.
for a whole year.
None of that.
Well, maybe some Christmas witches.
Christmas witches. everyone loves the traditional Christmas witch.
Exactly. Winter witches.
Winter witches.
Witches for
Snow
all
witches.
seasons.
Spring witches. Easter witches. Bring it on.
Well, there'll be none of that this week.
None of that, no.
But how are you, Nick?
I'm alright. I'm looking into the future.
Now, full disclosure, people, we have recorded this episode a little in advance, so if the world exploded between us recording this and this episode going out, we can only apologise for not having some sort of reverence in our voice.
Yes, but also, if the world has exploded, then you have a whole episode of The Poison's Cabinet to listen to
I know.
while it's exploding.
Exactly.
So, aren't you lucky?
We think about this for your benefit. We've recorded this in advance because this is the week of Macbeth's production.
Macbeth week.
Which we've all been involved in, the Parrot Theatre production of Macbeth. Nick is the star for building the most magnificent crates known to man.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck Macbeth.
Yeah.
Crates is the way forward.
I helped a bit.
You did help a bit. Terrifyingly, but you did help.
But yes, it is a great production. I'm in it. I'm acting.
Acting, oh my god, the drama.
All of the acting on stage. So because of the mania of show week, we've recorded this in advance. So as we said, if all manner of news things have happened that we should be talking about, if poison has been declared legal, then we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, exactly. We get to that next week.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
But you are well, Nick?
I think so.
Yeah.
Rumbling along.
We'll see what the future holds.
We'll see what the future holds, absolutely.
Well, any poisonings this week?
Well, who knows?
Oh, yeah.
It is the future or the past, I don't know.
Are you planning any?
Well,
Have you written any into your journal?
that would be telling, wouldn't it? I feel?
Your month planner.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, when you start off November. In November, I'm going to achieve these things.
I'm going to murder these people.
It's less of a plan and more of a list.
Yeah. I'm very much like Arya Stark. I've got a list I recite when I go to bed.
Oh, God. I can well believe that of you.
Absolutely.
It's also your list becomes the basis for a pitch for the Netflix series as well. Well, speaking of making massive lists of people you want to kill and then muttering their names as we sleep. What?
Where are you going with that?
That was it.
Okay.
Every now and then you look so shocked at me
I think
about this murder podcast that
I'm
we
assuming
do.
you were going with the patron things, but then you want to make a list of the patrons you're going to murder.
No,
that doesn't seem very charitable.
No, they do
or
it.
grateful.
Well, speaking of making lists, which may involve murder or maybe not.
Are you now Santa Claus? Making his lists.
It is winter.
It is coming up to the Christmas season.
And pondering whether or not it's too early to celebrate Christmas, I think it's time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Yes, we should.
Thank you to everyone who has joined us on Patreon, who has upgraded. We will get round to naming all of you beautiful, beautiful people next week when we have regained the power of time. But we've caught up with ourselves.
Regained the power of time.
Yes, that's how time travel works.
Right, okay, so have we lost the power of time? Have I had the power of time all along and just not known it?
It was in your heart
It was,
all along,
it was
Nick.
within me all along. I just didn't believe. Hard enough. I had it and I lost it. But now I've regained it. All is well.
Exactly. Well, Nick, are you ready?
Apparently.
Are you sure?
No.
Do we want to get in our time machine and drink cocktails and talk about poison?
Yeah, okay.
Or we could go back in time.
I thought that's what we're doing in our time machine.
No, or we could go forward in time.
Well, that sounds weird.
Drink poison and talk about cocktails, but then we go back and it's fine.
I'm really confused.
Should we just have a drink?
Let's just have a drink. I have no idea what's going on with that one.
Hooray, hooray, hooray. Let's go
Okay.
with the first one. Well, it is my story this week, but we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. So my story this week, and it's my pick, and this week's secret ingredient is a train.
Train.
A choo choo train.
Oh, lovely. What type of train?
It's a old-fashioned train.
An old-fashioned, old-timey train.
An old-timey train.
Okay.
By the power of steam.
Steam.
Maybe diesel. I don't understand trains. I don't know the history of trains. When did the diesel train come in? When did it stop being the steamy train?
50s.
Oh, God, it's before that.
So let's go with steam.
Oh, no, it's late 1800s. This
let's go with steam.
Steam. Yay.
Yeah. Or two men winching the thing.
Horse-powered train.
Yeah, horse-powered train.
It's a train. There were lots of choices for ingredients this week, but we thought train. Train, it's good, it's powerful.
Did we? Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't given much choice.
There was a big discussion I had with myself.
Yeah, okay. But we went with train. Okay.
But with train as our inspiration, our ingredient, what have you come up with, Nick?
Well, like a train. Who doesn't like a train?
All right.
All right.
Do you think you're a big train spotter?
No, train spotter. No, I wouldn't say that.
Train
did have a
enthusiast?
model railway when I was a kid.
How big?
It was quite big. My dad used to work for Hornby.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, my dad used to be a draftsman. He used to design all the trains and things and do all the drawings for Hornby. So we had a load of shit. So in the loft there was a big old train set.
Oh my lord!
Yeah.
Oh, because Hornby was based in Ramsgate, wasn't
Margate.
it? Margate.
Still
Margate.
is.
Oh, still is. Oh, bloody hell! I know nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hornby trains. So yeah.
Oh.
So I had loads of train stuff when I was a kid.
Was it yours or was it your dad's?
Oh, it was my dad's. But I bought a lot of stuff too because I like putting the buildings down and making it look pretty.
Oh right. How old were you?
Oh, probably 7, 8, 9.
You bought a lot of stuff at 8.
Well, with my pocket money, I used to go to there used to be a model railway shop in Ramsgate. I used to go and say, I've got £5. And I bought some hedges.
It was a sheltered life, wasn't it?
It was.
But I'm also picturing you going upstairs to the loft and going, Daddy, may I put these hedges on? And Les just going, no, it's mine.
Mine.
It's my train set. Because I would probably be like that.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
would be like that. Yeah.
You would be like that now.
I am like that now.
You don't let any of your nieces and nephews play with your Lego.
No, because they'll smash it up. And one of them is like 3, and the other one's better at me than Lego.
Have you sat them down and had the conversation with them going, with your pocket money, you bring Uncle Nick some more Lego?
Bring me Lego. Bring me all your Lego.
Okay.
No,
so
I mainly buy them Lego for Christmas so that I can spend Christmas Day building it with them.
that's a good tactic.
Yeah, it works.
I like it. Well, with trains,
Yeah.
from your train building past,
My train building past. Down
Yes.
the railways.
down the
I was
railway,
there with my hammer.
just signalmen, just waving them in. What have you come up with?
So, this week, with trains, I'm having a Flying Scotsman.
Yay!
That's a train.
That is a train.
It is a train.
It's
a real train, a steam train.
Fancy.
It's a fast train.
Yes, we see it sometimes.
We do.
We do.
Comes through Canterbury.
It is, and everyone lines up at the railway
And goes,
tracks.
"Ooh,
And goes,
Flying
"Ooh."
Scotsman."
Yes, I confuse it sometimes with the Flying Dutchman. That's very different.
That is a very different vibe. Mainly
it?
because the Dutchman's a boat.
And it flies, and it's a ghost ship.
It doesn't fly, no.
Does it not?
No.
I thought it
You're
did.
now thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that.
Yeah.
Flying Dutchman does not fly.
Well, what did it do?
It's a boat.
Oh, it's
But,
just a boat.
It's a boat, but it's a boat that can never make harbour. It can never go into harbour, so it's the people on board are doomed to sail the seas forever.
That's a ghost ship.
Yeah, it's a ghost ship. It's not
right.
It doesn't fly. It's not a flying ghost ship.
I thought it flew.
No, it's called the Flying Dutchman. It does
Right.
not actually fly.
Good. I'm glad you're here to point
Yeah.
out
Neither
that
does the train fly to Scotland. Just so. I think we need to be more careful about the description of things here.
I think so around me, because clearly I take them literally, and then don't join the two together.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Does the Flying Scotsman? Does it fly?
does it
No,
fly?
it's a fucking
I
train.
heard somewhere that it flew
Did you?
based on its title.
Right. Yeah. You've
Good.
seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang a few too many times, I feel.
Yeah. Never gets old. So the Flying Scotsman. I
Yes.
am excited. I'm intrigued to see if it will take flight. No. I hope it has steam coming out of it.
Very possibly.
Well, I think it is time for us to chug into the poisonous cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So Nick, the Flying Scotsman,
The Flying Scotsman.
has often seen through the sky.
Its ghostly train likeness flying through the sky.
Come, little children, I'll train you away.
No, none of that.
But it looks like a grown-up drink, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's a grown-up drink. It's in a tumbler, big old cube of ice, clinky.
Clinky,
Clinky,
clinky.
clinky, clinky, clinky. And it's a brown.
Brown.
It's a brown drink. So we've gone away from all of the spooky pleasantries of
None of that.
October.
No pleasantries anymore.
No, we're deep into winter now.
Absolutely.
We need to be warm. We need to be cozy.
We need to be spirited forward.
And you seem confident on that.
Well, it's definitely spirit forward. If it's going to be any good or not, I don't know. But spirit forward, we're not lacking.
It may be bad, but we'll be drunk.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be happy. Okay, so that smells of alcohol.
Good.
And chlorine. What? I can't smell anything. Never ask me that.
Chlorine?
I don't know why.
Not getting the chlorine myself, I must admit.
Oh no, there's scents. There's aromas.
There's aromas.
There's aromas.
Oh, good.
There are ingredients.
Everyone loves an aroma.
Okay. Should we dive in?
Let's have
All
a
right,
bit.
Let's do it. All
Okay.
right.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas. Oh. Immediately.
Oh, now that's more like it. That's what we want.
We recorded another episode earlier today, and Nick nearly cried
I
at
did.
how disappointing the cocktail was. I thought we were going to have to stop the episode. Nick is now beaming,
Yep.
grinning like the Cheshire Cat.
That'll do it.
That is a lot of flavour.
There's a lot going on there.
There's
not,
oh.
but it's It's my strangely happy noise.
You turned into your man from the Fast Show.
I really have. The spirit smell. I'm very drunk.
Marvellous. Okay, well, Nick's happy. It's probably a good thing he's not reading this week's episode. I'm going to try again. Hang on. Well, it was an assault on the senses, though. Oh, that was a big gulp.
But a fun assault. The jolly kind of assault.
No, that's tasty.
Wow.
That's tasty.
Nom, 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 nom.
There's nothing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those noises.
Well, it's making us make noises.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued. Okay. Well, Nick, what's happening?
Only good thing.
I taste good things from the glass.
Whiskey. Blended scotch.
Oh, a scotch. Okay.
Yeah, scotch. Not usually a fan of the scotch myself.
I'm not.
This. It works. Some sweet vermouth.
Oh, we're in good territory
Yeah.
here.
Drop of sugar syrup. And some bitters.
That's it.
Well, that's your lot. Stir with some lovely ice so it's nice and cold. Strain over a big chunk of ice in your tumbler. Oh, it's good.
Marvellous.
good.
You see, every time.
Every time, a brown drink.
Fewer ingredients.
Fewer ingredients, absolutely.
Fewer ingredients.
It's the way forward.
Better flavour.
Better flavour.
And that's a long drink.
Yeah, it's a big... Yeah, I was surprised, actually. Well, I mean, there's a big chunk of ice in there, which is taking up a big old space, but...
Oh, that's a sippin'. That is an absolute banger for winter.
Yep.
We are cold people. We can't turn the heating on.
Absolute treat.
Okay. Well, Nick, seeing as we have our Flying Scotsman firmly in hand,
Yeah.
I've just gotten that it's Scotch and Flying Scotsman. I don't understand words clearly today. I thought the train flew because it had flying in it. Didn't put that together. And Scotch. What? Oh, the Scotsman.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, look at that. That's crazy.
Sometimes I wonder how I get up in the mornings
As do we all.
and dress because it's not a good thing. It's good that I work from home most of the time because this is an incident that's happening here. This has become a problem. But we have our Flying Scotsman in hand.
We do.
Trying to keep them reined onto the ground and the steam pouring from their gizzards.
Trains have gizzards.
Yeah, didn't you know that?
Did I not? I didn't know
Oh my
that.
God.
I feel stupid now.
Yeah, train enthusiast over there doesn't know about the train gizzard.
Train gizzards.
It's famed. If you find it, you get an egg.
Oh, it's not going well.
Or is it going brilliantly? With our cocktails firmly in hand. Are you ready for a story, Nick?
Yes.
Let's
Tell me a story.
have a story. Well, the secret ingredient this week was a train.
It was.
And I'm just going to get it out there. We're on a train.
This is a good start. Okay.
We are on a train. The train is focal point of the story.
Because if
No one...
a train had gone by at one point, then that would have been like,
Well, I'll come back to that point.
okay.
Because I'd love to know from a different perspective the kind of people who spot crimes on trains, because this is more common than you would think. People in the olden times would spot many a thing happening on a train in the olden times because trains went so slowly. And you've got
That's
loads
true.
of crimes being reported by people who went, I saw this happen on the train, but I thought nothing of it.
Random train knowledge. When trains first came in, first of all, they had hoardings along the side of the tracks, because I thought anyone going at that speed would go entirely insane. So people in that train, surely the human being is not designed to travel at more than 5 miles an hour.
40 miles an hour, my God, their brains will come out of their
Exactly.
heads.
So they were actually hoardings up alongside the tracks to stop witnesses who were just walking by, seeing these people just their heads exploding, and all sorts, just in case. But then also at the time, before sort of trains had lights and things like that, when you were going through a tunnel, it all got a bit scary.
It did.
So women had put pins in their mouths to stop being kissed by random people in the train.
What? So
You're
you're going to need to break that shit down for me.
So if you're in a dock in a train carriage with someone, so perhaps some unscrupulous chap who might try and steal a kiss when the train went through a tunnel or
Right.
something like that, women would put a pin in their mouth, just hold between their teeth,
Their teeth.
just in case someone did come in for a sneaky kiss, they would get stabbed.
Right. I'm going to break something to you, Nick. I don't think that it was actually in the mouth that they were putting anything. Because also, what man is going to go under cover of darkness? I shall steal a peck on her lips. He's going to go right for certain areas.
Well, no, I feel this is a more innocent time.
Oh, bless you. Bless your heart. That woman was lining up pins in her garter because any guy is going to try and, I've got but 5 seconds through this tunnel.
This tunnel is like 15 seconds long. Got to make my chance.
Wherever he puts his hand, it's a pin cushion. That's what it is. Why have you brought a hedgehog onto this?
It could be entirely apocryphal, but I heard it somewhere. It amused
fondle
me.
this, you bastard. Oh, no. That's so good. Oh, a woman sitting there before she gets to the tunnel, side-eyeing all the guys, lining up the pins in her mouth, just try it.
You just try it, mate.
And then she swallows one accidentally. And chokes.
I mean, it could be bollocks, but it sounds fun.
No, it's 100% true. It's based on nothing, but it's 100% true.
Someone told me in a pub one day. Therefore, it must be true.
It must be true.
Or I saw it on the telly. Therefore, it must be true.
Love it.
There we go.
How did we get onto this?
I don't know, that's
by
my
the
train
way?
fact. The only thing I know about
No,
trains.
but people seeing strange things
crimes
on the
on
other side of
trains.
trains. And you were saying about the hoardings
that's-
in the
that's where
olden
it was.
times. Yes.
People
And then
say-
the girl on the train was written, and that would the first draft was thrown out because there weren't enough pins in it. But
Anyway, moving on. Get on with your story. Come on.
On board a train. We are boarding a train. Now, we covered back in Spooky October spooky train stories. We covered a bona fide murder in one of our Patreon episodes.
Yes.
And that led me to a big fat stack of resources on crimes, murders, horrible things that have happened on the British railways.
Well, we've had a few. There's been a few trunks with bits in.
There are trunks with bits in.
That have been left. Like Brighton. We had one in Brighton.
In the station or in a hotel, they've usually been transported unbeknownst.
Like left luggage sort of things at
Yes.
station. It's a good place for dumping a trunk with a head in or something.
Indeed. But we do have a case where a crime was committed on a train. The train was the focal point of it. Now, there's a few stories, and maybe a couple of people are thinking of some unsolved crimes where bodies and corpses were found on trains, and they are fascinating. They're not short on detail, they're short on story.
They're short on actual facts.
Oh no, the facts are fine. It's just like this person was murdered and then there they were.
Okay. Yeah, that's boring.
Delving into the resources of the British Transport Police, and then that opens up a whole Google hole where you find all sorts of newspaper articles, led me to this story. Ironically, it did occur on the same stretch of track that appeared in the Patreon episode that we talked about recently, the London to Brighton
Yes.
service. It passes through the Merstham Tunnel, the same spot where a certain young woman met a horrible fate. But we're not going to the Merstham Tunnel.
Okay.
But come with me now, Nick. Come with
I
me
will.
on a journey. For it is 2 p.m. on Monday, the 27th of June, 1881. Jack the Ripper. No, he's not.
Is on a train. Lovely seaside trip to Brighton.
Journaling. In several years' time, I will do terrible things.
Terrible things. Today, I'm going to the seaside.
I'm going to the seaside. I'm going to get some cockles. And we are in Preston Park Station, just outside of Brighton. Do you know it well?
No, not in the slightest.
Good, okay, fine. That saves me from having to share any facts about that station.
Nope, never heard of it.
It's a nice day.
Okay.
Everyone is bustling about, happy. Ticket collector Richard Gibson is chatting away to passengers, taking their ticket stubs. It was those times when you had ticket collectors and the age of steam. Oh, everyone is passing pleasantries as they leave or they board the trains. But the inspector notices a man step out of a first-class carriage. Seems a little unsteady on his feet. The man steps onto the platform. Inspector saunters over just to make sure, do we have someone who's had a few too many? Yeah. When he gets closer, he sees that the man does not seem well at all.
Oh.
He's pale, and as he turns more towards him, he sees the man is covered in blood.
That's less good.
The victim of some horrible attack. He sees the man is not wearing his hat, his collar and his tie are missing. A watch chain is dangling from his boot, not on his waistcoat. He's in a terrible state, and the inspector, calls for aid. They manage to get hold of this guy who is absolutely distraught. He manages to find the words to implore for help because he has been attacked. He's been attacked on the train by two men.
Mm-hmm.
It was just before they eventually surmise that the train entered the darkness of the Mersham Tunnel.
It's a scary tunnel. Lots of unpleasant things going on there.
And tunnels are long when you don't have lights.
Yeah.
There's no gas lamps in the tunnel.
No.
There's no gas lamps on the train.
Pins are plenty.
Exactly. He had no pins.
He had no pins.
And two men chanced upon his carriage and they thought, well, hey. As they entered the darkness of the tunnel, the pair of thugs stormed into his compartment, dealt him a vicious blow over the head, knocking him out cold. This poor man, completely disorientated, soaked in blood. Everyone is like, this is a terrible, terrible scene. Richard Gibson insists that he accompanies the man to Brighton. He informs the rest of the station staff, cover everything. I'm going to go with you. We're going to go to the police station immediately.
Good for him.
And the man thanks him so much. It's still in the days where they give someone your card.
Yeah,
to introduce yourself.
Your calling card.
And the poor man does indeed still fish out his card. And please take my card. But honestly, you're fine, mate. You're bleeding all over the station. Hands over his card, and the name is Percy Lefroy on the card.
Fancy.
But 21 years old.
Oh, young Percy.
A young man, but quite slight. Doesn't look like the strongest man in the world. Prime target for thieves.
For thugs.
As they travel, the man tries to recall anything he can about his attackers, but he is scared and shaken. Gibson, the inspector, also when he gets to the train station in Brighton, points out the watch chain in his boot and says, what happened with the watch chain? And Percy says, no, that's mine. This watch chain is mine. I keep it there for safekeeping. Thank goodness the thieves couldn't have snatched it. But quite dishevelled he is. Arriving in Brighton, Percy again speaks to the station master, and then he goes to the Brighton police station to give his complaint, to give them his account. He will go to the hospital first for treatment for these wounds, because obviously...
Yeah, indeed.
And while the railway staff wire messages back and forth, right, we need to find out what's happened here. We need to inspect the train, find out where these culprits are. These crazed robbers who are preying on the young and the innocent and the frail. We need to hand out more pins. As they do their investigations, they go into the first-class train carriage. And they find the floors, the door handle, a handkerchief and a newspaper, everything in there covered in blood.
Oh.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of blood. And
a lot of blood spatter around.
Yeah.
A lot of blood. A true horror scene. Clearly a fierce fight has taken place here. They also find 3 bullet holes in the wall.
Christ, okay. But Percy is still walking. Well, he's injured, but he's still alive.
He's still alive. He's completely disorientated, according to the reports there. He's disorientated. He's sort of saying he was attacked, he was hit, was he shot? I don't know. I think maybe they find these bullet holes. Like, right now, a gun's involved.
Yeah.
What the hell has happened to this man, and where are these people?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Percy is being treated at the hospital for his wounds. And he's about to head back to the police station. His wounds are actually quite minor.
I'm thinking, I don't know if Percy's as innocent as we think in this.
Well, the doctor is dabbing out all of this blood that's across his forehead, across his neck. There's all sorts of marks across his neck, finger marks across his neck where he's been grabbed.
Oh, I think it's not his blood.
He's mopping them up, and the doctor's like, just very, very small cuts on your skin. Seems a bit official.
Oh, Percy, what have you been doing?
So much so that the doctor would like to keep Percy back, and the hospital authorities are going, maybe we need a few words with this man. You know, underneath maybe it's a paper cut or a splinter that he has. But Percy cannot stay. He cannot stay at the hospital, and there's no reason to detain him. He has to go to the police station to make his complaint, to talk about what has happened. And also, he has a very, very, very pressing appointment in London that he has to get to.
Oh, Percy.
Okay, you've just arrived in Brighton.
Yeah.
And now you have to go back to an appointment. Does Percy know where London is?
Yeah.
But at the police station, Percy goes in. He gives his statement, as much of a description as possible of his attackers. But he really has such little memory of what happened. But he'll happily put up a reward. Oh, he'll put up a reward for any information that will lead to the capture of these blackguards. But he also can't stress enough that he has to get back to London very, very soon.
Okay.
Now, it's starting to feel a little bit weird.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
It's weird, but what do the police have to keep him? They have no reason to detain him. All they have is blood in a carriage. Maybe there's some gunshots. An injured man, maybe not as badly injured as they thought.
Oh, certainly not 3 bullet wounds worth.
No.
Or any bullet wounds worth. Someone has been shot somewhere.
Indeed. He goes to Brighton Station. Along the way, he's bought himself a new collar and tie, it's said.
Well, one must look one's best.
It's not said in detail that I could find anywhere easily, but it is reported that he behaved so strangely at Brighton's train station that the British Transport Police actually pulled him into an office to have a word with him.
Okay, you're right, mate.
Now, I don't know what he was doing, whether he was cackling and rubbing his hands, or whether he was just very nervous and edgy, or he was speaking Flemish to a pigeon. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that would do it. I'm going potentially with a nervous vibe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
None of these reasons are enough to detain a man.
You can't arrest a man for being nervous.
Exactly. It's weird, but we can't arrest you or keep you for anything. And he's saying, I want to get back to London. I've been attacked. Leave me alone. So, of course, they have to let him go. The only thing that they can maybe think of at this time is that did Percy mean himself harm?
Okay. I hadn't made that connection. Yeah.
Was he on a train carriage and was he trying to kill himself? Now, this is still a crime, suicide.
Yes.
In 1881, I believe.
Indeed. But also, if he tried to shoot himself and missed 3 times, I'm feeling he didn't do a very good job of the thing.
Well, obviously, he's walking around alive.
Yeah, and there's no bullet wounds on him.
No.
But they found 3 bullet holes in the carriage. So he's a really shit shot. If he was trying to do himself in.
They're thinking, is this some stupid accident? He's trying to do himself harm. He's trying to harm himself. He's getting nervous. He's getting worked up. Okay, it's a crime. However, do we maybe want to turn a blind eye to this? Do we not want to pull it out too much? That's the only thing they can think of right then and there, as they are clueless to anything else that's happening. And, you know, they're investigating the rest of the line. They do search him while he's at Brighton train station, I believe, not at the police station. Mm-hmm. When they search him, they find 2 Hanoverian medals on his person. And do you know what the Hanoverian medal is?
I'm assuming some sort of military award?
It is. My understanding is, unless there was some deviation or some variation that I'm not aware of, it's a Hanoverian Waterloo medal. And it is specifically given out to soldiers who fought in the Battle of Waterloo. It's a very composite way of saying it. These medals in particular cannot be traded, cannot be passed on to soldiers. That can happen. It has to stay in the family. It has to stay with them. So they're all going, oh my God.
He's a war hero, this man.
Is he a war hero? This veteran. Well, he doesn't look 100 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about Waterloo. I'm thinking the timelines are not quite matching up here.
A bit much. He's 21. Yeah, but is it an heirloom? Is it an heirloom?
Yes, a father, a grandfather.
Exactly. They have to stay in the family. So what are these doing? And as they ask him, Percy says, I have no idea how they got there.
Right. Yeah, Percy is getting less trustworthy as it goes, I have to say.
Please tap the medals. Yeah, these are fake.
Percy.
Counterfeit.
Medals
counterfeit.
indeed.
They're called counterfeit coins in some reports, but because the medals look like coins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's got counterfeit coins. We still can't detain this man for just having 2 counterfeit coins because he's not saying that he had them. He's not admitting anything. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
He's not trying to pass them off as anything.
No.
Yeah.
No reason to arrest him. They let him go. They let him get onto his train to London. But for his own safety and also for their peace of mind, he is escorted by Detective Sergeant Holmes.
Oh, nice.
George Holmes. It's
George
not
Holmes.
Sherlock.
Yeah,
it's not Sherlock.
I had assumed that it wouldn't be.
He was undercover.
Undercover.
He's the greatest detective of them all.
And also entirely fictional.
Shut
Shut
up.
up. I ruined the story.
Nick, I think you'll find he lived in Baker Street. That's a real place. No, DS Holmes is going to accompany him on his journey home. His sister's house in Surrey is where he is lodging at the time, so the police are going to take him home. And while they travel back to London, the police thought they better search the rest of the line to see if the mystery attackers have jumped off the train, if there's any clues to what has happened in this carriage.
Wise.
And it's not long before they find something, not in the Merstham tunnel, but in the Balcombe tunnel.
Oh.
And what they find
Is it a shot person?
is a dead body. The body of an old man. The chap has fallen, of course, from the train, but he's also been stabbed and shot.
They were his medals.
The man they quickly ID as a corn merchant named Isaac Gold, who used the line regularly, was known to many people. He was also wealthy. He regularly carried a lot of cash on him. But he had no money on him when he was found. His watch and chain were missing.
Oh, Percy, you're a wrong un.
Near the body, the police find a blood-stained knife. At least throw the murder weapon out
Yeah.
at another stop.
Absolutely, yeah. This is not well planned.
I mean, it's good for us actually catching you as murders. Us.
Yes, it's all us. We did it.
140 years later. Oh, it's definitely us. We have cracked the case,
We're
guys.
brilliant.
The station master at Balcombe Station sends a telegram to Three Bridges to try and intercept DS Holmes, reading, "Man found dead this afternoon in tunnel here. Name on papers, I Gold. He is now lying here. Reply quick." Stinking up the place, he is.
He's now lying here. He's right in the way, he is.
I mean, bloody hell. A further telegram was sent by Brighton police to Holmes. He's intercepting this at every station while sitting with Percy. And the Brighton police tell him, don't let Percy out of your sight. We don't have the actual transcript of that telegram, but it's like, just keep an eye on him. He gets both telegrams. He's pretty smug, like, I've got this guy.
I like that. He's sitting in the carriage, face of steel, not showing any. He's reading these telegrams, giving nothing away. Complete poker face in that carriage. If it was me, I'd be going, "Oh my god, it's you!" Oh no, shit!
Looking up, he's like, I'm just going to open the telegram.
Oh my god! What have you done?
You killed a man!
Yeah, I would not.
No!
I mean, oh.
Now, I don't know if anyone told Percy what had been found out, whether word ever reaches him, whether DS, whether the detective sergeant does indeed keep the poker face or is twitching with excitement and just going
I got a murderer.
well Percy clearly is getting a bit antsy because the DS simply won't leave him alone. He says, I just want to go back to London, then I'm going to go back to my lodgings. You don't need to go with me. I need to get home. And the DS is like, no, I'll come with you to London. I'll come with you to your connection to Surrey. I'll walk you home. Can I come into your house? Can I come there? Yeah. I'm really, really keen to see your ornaments. That's what I want. And at the home of his sister, Percy turns to the DS who's outside and says, I just need to get changed. I'm sorry, I'm covered in blood. This is gross. I need to just go and get changed, and then we'll come out, and whatever needs to happen is fine. And the DS is like, oh, okay, but be quick now. And Percy's like, of course I will. And he walks through the front door and out the back door and runs away.
Nice.
And I think the DS Holmes was standing there.
Standing outside going, Oh, he's taking a long time getting changed.
For hours. Hours. It's night, the moon is up.
Oh, dear.
The milkmen are doing their rounds.
Very trusting, the police these days.
He
or
is.
those days.
And he's standing there kind of going, okay, well, I'm going to give him another 3 hours and then I'm bloody well going in there. That's it. No, he's
Those
just...
collars are a nightmare. They take an age.
The starch that we have to put into all of our clothes. Percy is gone. Is just gone. And at the time that D.S. Holmes is sitting outside or standing outside, probably standing to attention the whole time, you'd think Percy would probably run further. But no, he's just gone. He doesn't get very far.
It's the pub on the corner.
Probably did have time to stop off. The police, on hearing that Percy has run, they send out a description. They alert the masses that there is a man on the loose wanted for murder. And for the first time ever, Nick, they issue a description to the press.
Ooh, fancy.
That results in the first ever composite picture to appear on a wanted poster in the press in the UK.
Nice. Like it.
So it is the first sketch of a villain on the run to appear in the UK press. And I think that's time for a drink.
Okay.
So, Nick,
Okay.
the Daily Telegraph runs this poster, this wanted poster with the headline, Murder! £200 reward for the capture of Percy Lefroy Mapleton, his real name.
Oh, we've got a Mapleton now. Okay.
Yes, it's Percy Lefroy Mapleton. And here is his description given in full. Age, 22. I think technically it was 21. Middle height. Very thin. Sickly appearance. Scratches on throat. Wounds on head. Probably clean shaven. Low felt hat. Black coat. Teeth much discoloured. He is very round-shouldered, and his thin overcoat hangs in awkward folds about his spare figure. His forehead and chin are both receding. He has a slight moustache and very small dark whiskers. His jawbones are prominent, his cheeks sunken and sallow, and his teeth fully exposed when laughing. His upper lip is thin and drawn inwards. His eyes are grey and large. His gait is singular.
A singular gait. Like it.
He is inclined to slouch, and when not carrying a bag, his left hand is usually in his pocket.
Oh, that's some detail going on there.
He generally carries a crutch stick.
Okay. I mean, that's a damn good description.
That
of the
is
man.
that is a lot of padding in there as
Yeah.
well, I will say.
There's a lot going on there.
So it's the first description, but also the hand. Well, his hand isn't there; it's usually in his pocket. If you
Yeah.
can't see his hand, look in his pocket.
They've created a character.
Now I will share the picture of your man for this week's episode notes, and there are various sketches later on. They're brilliant. This one, because of that prose, I don't know what you've come up with in your head, but the picture on the wanted poster does make him look in profile like a weird bowler hat wearing rat man.
Okay.
I mean, it's so bad.
Should I be googling this?
Google away.
Oh God. That is a bizarre look.
I mean, it looks like a rat man. Yes, that's
Yes,
him. That's him.
that's-
And it's like his head is entirely forward from his body.
It really is. And it's like he's got like a strap. It looks like he's wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
I think that's his sideburns, but it actually looks like a strap on his hat. It's not a good look, Percy.
And bear that in mind, because I think Percy saw this.
And was very upset by it.
I think he was upset by it, and that will
Yeah.
come into bearing
Okay.
soon, in my opinion. And I think you'll agree in yours. But now, this description, this sketch of this man, a murder suspect, interest in the case is massive. This is a sketch that's appeared in the national papers, in the Daily Telegraph. Everyone is seeing Percy everywhere. Reported sightings in towns, in houses, in your groceries, everywhere. You'll see him in the letters. At the inquest for poor Isaac Gold, the officers involved in the case, the police officers, are torn to shreds for being idiots, for letting Percy walk free, for not picking up on the obvious signs of a murder having taken place. A verdict of willful murder is returned by coroner Wynne Baxter, who worked on the Ripper murders.
Oh, very good.
Later, not at the
Yes,
time.
yes, I assume so.
He was building up to that. Percy is named as the culprit. Now, after 1 million billion trillion reports to, I've seen Percy here, I've seen Percy there. It's not long before Percy is found. On the 8th of July, he was lodging in a house in Stepney. Didn't get far. I know he's in Surrey, Stepney, East London.
Yeah, not that
Go
far.
north, mate. Go north. He is lodging there under the name Park. He's been staying in a tiny room with the blinds drawn every day and night. He doesn't leave. When he does leave, it's under cover of darkness. And he's not really communicating with his landlady named Mrs. Bickers.
Nice.
It's a classic landlady.
Mrs. Bickers, like it.
He said at the time he was an engraver who needed peace and quiet.
Okay.
Because famously they're quiet
Yeah.
sorts. Well, the landlady needed money. And she gets very, very interested in his business. Now, she claims to be an upstanding citizen and like really having nothing to do with this man. She is going through his mail. She's peeping through the keyhole. And if he had just laid low, maybe things would have died down. And maybe he felt the pressure from the landlady to pay the rent that was due. But he sends a telegram to his old employers asking for his wages to be sent to that boarding house. The telegram reads, now, some of the names in this code, pseudonyms, it seems like he's used pseudonyms a lot in his life. From G. Clark, 32 Smith Street, Stepney, to S. Seal at J.T. Hutchinson's, which is, I think, was where he worked, Gresham Street, London. Please bring me my wages this evening, about 8, without fail. Flour tomorrow, not 33. That is never explained.
I don't understand. Ooh. Mystery codes. Secret codes.
Not 33 maybe is his old address.
Oh, yes, okay.
But flour tomorrow.
Flour tomorrow.
And it's flour is in actual baking flour.
Right, not as it, okay.
And anyone who has heard this story and knows what that means, please tell me.
Yeah,
because
that's curious.
Everyone was like, yeah, no, that was just a thing he sent. As a result of this telegram, someone tipped off the police. I'm not going to say it's the landlady, but it was definitely the landlady. Nosy woman. The police go into Percy's room. They find his bloodstained clothes. He was taken into custody, and Percy said, I'm not obliged to say anything, and I think it better not to make any answer. The police officer wrote this down in his notebook and read it back to Percy, who added, I will qualify that by saying I'm not guilty.
Okay, just add that in there at the end.
Big speech there, man. I go, yeah, but I'm not guilty. I mean, write that down. Maybe this is around the time, as the trial grows near, that the fame of being the first person who had been sketched in the press as a murder suspect has stung Percy in more ways than one. The poster it's not flattering. It's not flattering. And when Percy stood trial at Maidstone Assizes, he insisted that he be allowed to wear full evening dress in court so he could impress the jury.
Oh, yes.
Including a fabulous silk top hat.
Nice.
Big hat.
Everyone loves a big hat.
All the reports were that he wavered between being obsessed with his appearance and then looking utterly sick at the evidence that was before him.
Yeah.
From the Penny Illustrated paper, a great resource if ever there was one, in November 1881, and this is the energy I think I would channel. It was curious to note the change that took place in Mapleton's bearing and demeanour whenever he caught sight of an artist from one of the illustrated papers in the act of sketching him. He suddenly brightened up and, if I'm not mistaken, assumed a studied pose for the occasion. So he's sitting there chewing his nails.
One has to look one's best in these things.
Sweating, terrified, and as soon as he sees someone sketching him, he just sort of like strikes a pose.
Strikes a pose, absolutely.
Like, okay, it's out, okay, and chest out and shoulders back, and read a book to see that you're, knowledgeable, and look off wistfully. Check your watch, it's fine. Yet many witnesses came forward to testify that he had been pawning clothes regularly. He had pawned and then rebought a revolver at his same pawn shop that he frequented. Many railway staff came forward to confirm that they had seen Percy at London getting into the same carriage as Isaac Gold, and that no one could have gotten into the carriage without them without being seen. Isaac Gold's widow testified in court about how happy he was, about how he was going about his daily business, standing there in widow's weeds, just heartbroken, really sad. There was even a woman from Hawley who testified that she had seen two men struggling in a train carriage as it passed her home. Which is, again, harks back to what we said. People saw crimes, but also people saw people getting it on. And that happened a lot, and no one ever reported it.
No, well, you're not going to, are you?
We've got a few examples of people who see crimes being committed and they just assume, like, oh, everyone's getting a little bit frisky.
Everyone's having a jolly time there.
Yeah, that woman in Hawley had her chair out ready with a glass of wine.
Absolutely.
Who's shagging who on the 1640 from Brighton? It transpired that Percy Lefroy Mapleton was flat broke and had gone to the train that day to rob a passenger. His original plan was to rob a woman.
Oh.
But he settled on the elderly Isaac Gold, thinking he was wealthy and also frail enough that he could overcome him easily.
Easy to do.
But clearly Isaac put up a fight.
Yeah, so it would seem.
He fought him to the last, resulting in his horrific death. The jury took just 10 minutes to return a guilty verdict. In pronouncing the sentence, Lord Coleridge, not that guy,
Not that Coleridge, yeah.
remarked, "You have been convicted on the clearest evidence of a most ferocious murder, a murder perpetrated on a harmless old man who had done you no wrong. He was perhaps unknown to you. You have been rightly convicted, and it is right and just that you should die." Percy replied, "The day will come when you will know that you have murdered me."
Oh.
Now, Percy would confess to the crime.
Yeah, okay.
But then he retracted it. And he was hanged on the 29th of November, 1881. But his hanging, there's an interesting subnote to this.
Okay.
Because there's a rather deliciously detailed first-person account of his execution in the Daily Telegraph in 1881. Now, I don't want to set that up as in, like, this is lurid detail of, like, what the hell are you talking about? Ho, 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 ho.
Okay.
It is a piece written, you've got to think about it like a feature, like a columnist in today's press, who is sort of slightly full of smug self-satisfaction and who is going to report on something with very beautifully lyrical detail. But like, look at me, I'm going to judge this scenery that I see. And in this piece, the person really does paint a picture of turning up at Lewes Jail. So Lewes Jail, the way they paint it, it may as well have been a cottage with a garden next to it and a charming little gallows outside, because they do say that the prison bounded up on one side, the yard where the gallows were constructed, was bounded up on one side by the prison and on three others high walls, and contained at one end a row of celery trenches carefully banked up.
Okay.
So they were growing some celery.
They're growing some celery.
At the end, however, facing where the vegetables were grown, the closest to the corner of the prison were two objects which forced themselves upon the view. In the right-hand corner rose a couple of thick black posts with a huge cross piece, and from which dangled a staple and a long, thick rope. And in the other corner, about 10 yards distance, an open grave.
Well, that'll do it.
So this reporter is describing this execution and this visit to Lewes Jail without, whether they know that Lefroy is there. This is the description. The executioner and the person who has built the gallows, William Marwood, is painted as just an excitable little puppy. He is running around, hello, doffing his hat to everyone, carrying the straps that he's about to bind up the prisoner with.
He's got a job to do.
Oh, he's dead proud of his gallows. Yeah. It is reported that he's going, "Oh, yeah, that rope you see," quoth he. He gazed admiringly at the crossbar of blackwood, "is 2.5 inches round. I've hung 9 with it. It's the same I used yesterday."
Yeah. He's a man who's proud at his craft. As
Indeed.
Terrifying as that might be.
When Percy is bound up with Marwood's leather straps to be taken to the gallows, it's said that he's wearing a suit, an old suit of greyish tweed. He was so tightly pinioned that afterwards I observed his, as in the journalist, his wrists were bruised, his hat was off, and his hair was somewhat disarranged. He had not been shaved for some time, and he was being hurried along by his executioner in a disquieting tone. Give him a break, he's about to die.
The executioner's a busy man, he's got stuff to do.
His pallor was so unearthly he presented the appearance of one who was already dead. He muttered as he went to the gallows, "I hope the rope will not break," because he'd obviously heard about the long drop. He barely makes it to the step when Ma was pushing him up the steps, like, come on, not in a nasty way, like, hey, I'm going to hang someone today, yay. It's commented on by the journalist that he doesn't think that Marwood is intending to be rough with the victim, but he feels that this whole process of getting him up on the gallows, putting the white cap and the bag over his head and the reading of the prayers is prolonging his agony.
It's a bit too enthusiastic, and yeah.
It is, and maybe some pain was caused to the prisoner, doesn't excuse the crimes that were committed. But Lefroy was dropped through the trapdoor, his neck snapped instantly.
I'll do it.
But he would later be immortalised in the Chamber of Horrors at Madame Tussauds, obviously as the greatest criminal who ever lived.
Absolutely.
So that is the story of Percy Lefroy Mapleton.
Good trainee story.
Murder on the trains.
See, at the beginning there, you had me rooting for Percy. What's happened to Percy? And you flipped it on me. Percy was a wrong one all along.
The British Transport Police are marvellous in their archives and the accounts that they have of these crimes, because they know how to tell a story when they lay it out, and you're kind of like, oh my God. And there's loads of resources on the story, and there's all the old newspaper clippings as well, which I read through. But yeah, it's one of those where you go, who's really responsible for this? I don't know. And they also have accounts of, there's a fascinating story on the British Transport Police archive as well, of a man who really was trying to kill himself, and for a long time the police were investigating it as a murder. Attempted murder. This man got off the train and he said he had been shot, and actually what had happened is he tried to kill himself, and he was so bound up in his kind of like his clothes, he was too ashamed to say that I tried to kill myself, and he didn't want his family to lose on the insurance. And so, they see a lot of shit on trains.
Absolutely. Oh, interesting. Oh, very good.
What do you think, then?
Well, he was a bit of a wrong one, really. Just went in there trying to... I will find a lady to rob. So he's obviously got on the train that day going, I'm going to rob someone.
Yeah.
And then it happened to be this old chap, this old boy sitting there having a lovely jolly time, and who put up a bit of a fight.
I don't know if the medals were his.
Yeah.
I think it was...
If they were counterfeit, probably not.
Counterfeit, I think he was trying to trade them. So he went to a pawn shop all the time trying to trade goods. But there you go. Well, that is the story of Percy Lefroy Mapleton and murder on trains. What do you think, people? Are there more train murders, dastardly crimes, apart from Murder on the Orient Express?
That was a real story.
Or Murder on the Blue Train.
There's also
a very good story. Are there the real life murder mysteries that you'd like us to tackle, you'd like us to try and solve on this podcast? Tell us what you think. Jump on the comments of this episode wherever you listen to your podcasts. Talk to us on social media. But most importantly, you gotta mix up a Flying Scotsman.
A Flying Scotsman, that went down a treat.
I mean, that was great.
That was good. That was a good one. We've had last week, this one, bloody brilliant.
Absolutely delicious.
Really good, really simple ingredients that you will have at home. Definitely give it a go.
We are back on track, people.
Yep, absolutely. More brown drinks.
More brown drinks. It is the winter. Brown is in.
Brown is the way forward.
Mix up a cocktail. Tag us in any of the pictures of you enjoying your cocktails wherever you're drinking this weekend or for the rest of the month. We love to see your pictures. If you haven't already, please do consider coming and joining us on Patreon. It is the start of the month. A great time to join Patreon because you get access to our full back catalogue and all of the special content coming to you for the winter months. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisoner's Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.